Walking a bit further away, Michael decided to try earning some money, while at the same time feeding. He stopped near a slightly rusted food cart where a vendor was grilling burgers and sausages. Even though eating was no longer required, Michael remembered the sensation in his stomach when smelling food like this and almost started to crave it. If enough cash was earned, perhaps he would do this as a treat anyway. It did present him with an opportunity to attract a few people, usually before they got their food and perhaps even a few afterwards. He saw a young couple approaching and he intercepted them, asking if they wanted to see a magic trick. They politely refused and went towards the food vendor. After approaching a few people this way, receiving the same turn-down result, he decided to try a different approach. He waited for a time when there were a few people walking past and selected one at random. Looking at the person, raised his hand and did a short 2-second drain on what looked like a male tourist. He hoped the drain would be short enough to not really damage the person too badly and give him a bit of a boost, but be long enough for people to become interested. As soon as the blue beam left his palm and made contact with the person, he heard a few gasps and expletives from a few people in surprise. He had also not really noticed before, as the last drains he had done were a bit more panic-induced, while this time he was more focused, especially to not drain the person for too long, and realized that while draining, the person remained static in the exact position they were in when the beam made contact. When he stopped and looked at the reaction of the people, he saw mostly stunned faces, and one person asked the person who was drained if he was okay, and he seemed to respond that he was fine. "Who is next?" Michael asked, hoping for a few volunteers this time. A few people raised their hands in excitement. Pretending to be gathering the power from thin air, Michael waved his hands about in the air, hoping to be theatrical and not silly. He then focused on the person and did a short drain again, and this time the small group began to applaud. He moved on to the next person and repeated the process, and then moved from one person to the next, with only a brief pause. He was attracting a fair amount of people, and some wanted to tip him, and he realized he didn't have anything to use for tips. So he removed his shirt and formed it in a circle in front of him, and people were tossing coins and a few notes in. Some had their phones out recording what he was doing. Michael wasn't sure how he felt about that, but it was too late now. After doing this for a little while, he started to wonder if he could use his right hand at the same time and have two beams. Option 1. Michael tries using two hands in front of the crowd. Option 2. He decides to try that in a more controlled manner. Or option 3. Decides to not even attempt it at all. Vote now.